Broadcasting live from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, this is TBC News. Our top stories. President Samia urges public institutions to provide dividend to the government. Condolences pour in Malawi following the death of Malawi's vice president and 9 others. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. I am Kanki Mwaigomole. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TBC Online. President Samia Suluhu Hassan has urged executive directors of public institutions to work according to changes in order to be able to provide dividend to the government that can be used to improve social services to the citizens. President Samia made the remarks in Dar es Salaam after receiving dividend of more than 600 billion shillings from public institutions. Lulua Muhammad's report is read by Teddy Mparanyanga.
It is another event whereby the government is receiving dividends from different public institutions at the State House in Dar es Salaam. Speaking at the occasion, President Samia Suluhu Hassan requested institutions that were unable to provide dividends this year to prepare themselves for next year.
Na tumeweka mazingira haya ili mashirika yafanye kazi, wapate faida, tupate gawio.
We have created a good working environment so that organizations can work and make profits, so as we get dividend. We cannot get dividend without profits.
President Samia asked Treasury Registrar to investigate projects that were invested at the Public Service Social Security Fund, PSSF, and National Health Insurance Fund, NHIF, and caused members of those funds to lack some of the services. On his spot, Treasury Registrar Nehemiah Mchechu says his office will assist President Samia by evaluating leaders' performance and come up with the best way of having hardworking and capable leaders.
Tupo katika hatua za mwisho za kuwa na mfumo dhabiti.
We are in the final stages of developing a solid reporting system for a timely and reliable information on the performance of the heads of institution to enable the right decision to be made in time for the selected authorities.
The theme of this Dividend Day is reforms of public institutions and responsibility of contributing to country's development.
Meanwhile, Bakari Msuya, who is in Dodoma, has interviewed the Treasury Registrar Nehemiah Mchechu, who starts by analyzing the extent of this year's dividends, reflections on the revolution made in the public sector.
Has to be honest, and that's a message that we gave the chairmen and chief executive officers and managing directors today, and the same message that also came from a president, Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan. It's that we don't think the rate of growth, the rate of contribution is well aligning to the total investment that has been done in the private sector. That's number one. Number two, we don't believe that the pace that we are moving is in line with the target that Her Excellency President has set for all parastatals and the state-owned institutions, and also in other institutions where we've invested, where she wants us to raise a target of non-tax revenue to 10% of the total tax revenue collections. And the number three, we don't believe the amount that we've collected and the pace that we are growing is in line with the great ambitions, big ambitions that our current leadership under Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan are taking place, so the government is taking. About what has gone wrong in state-owned enterprise to a point where the private sector are doing better than us. I think the simple point is that in the private sector, probably they've embraced the reforms and change, and they've taken it as a permanent agenda, and they keep on changing, they keep on being innovative and moving forward. So what we will do in a government, in a state-owned enterprise, in the public sector corporations, Number one, we will push the agenda of reforms, and the President has made quite clear that we should do it. And I think as the Office of the Treasury Registrar, we will push it non-stop. We will push it to the extent that we can do, and I think the law allows us and has given us enough powers to do that. But nevertheless, we will make sure that we engage and work very closely with the board and the executive and the leadership of those various institutions. One, in terms of building their capacity to lead the institutions. Number two is in terms of allowing them to get better trainings and exposure. And also, I think, to make sure that we give them a better space to operate, a freedom to run the business as their business for the best interest of the public sector. Where they have challenges, like on the capital, we need to give them, support them with the capital requirement. But the most important, we have put in place the key performance indicators, which are going to guide all these institutions to make sure that they are able to deliver better.
The Malawian President Lazarus Chakwera has confirmed the death of the Vice President Salus Chilima and 9 others after the plane they were traveling in crashed. Here are more details.
Condolences continue to pour in Malawi following the passing of Malawian Vice President Dr. Salus Chilima. The African Union Commission chairperson Musa Faki Mahmad says he is deeply saddened to learn that the search and rescue mission for the missing aircraft found no survivors. He says African Union is with the people of Malawi. On her side, President Samia Suluhu Hassan has conveyed her condolences through her X account, formerly Twitter, saying, "On behalf of the government and the people of the United Republic of Tanzania, to the President, Malawian, citizen, family and friends, she received the news of the tragic demise with great sadness." On his part, President Nangolo Mbumba of Namibia says Chilima has deep affection for the people of Malawi, and it is unfortunate that he passed on at the time when he still had so much to offer the people of Malawi and Africa. President Lazarus Chakwera announced that the military aircraft that went missing with Chilima and 9 occupants has been found and no one survived.
Words cannot describe how heartbreaking this is, and I can only imagine how much pain and anguish you all must be feeling at this time, as well as how much pain and anguish you all will be feeling in the coming days and weeks as we mourn this terrible loss.
The remains of the military plane were located on Tuesday in a mountainous area in the north of the country, a day after it went missing in bad weather. Dr. Chilima was on his way to represent the government at the burial of former government minister Ralph Kasambara, who died 4 days ago. The following tragedy, President Chakwera has declared a National Day of Mourning and has ordered that flags fly at half-mast from today until the day of the funeral. Antonia Kivaria, TBC News.
And related to the sudden news, my colleague Faitha Ngaga has spoken to engineer Japhet Mwandimo, who shares his expertise in the aviation sector as to why some planes lose communication while on air.
Engineer, what are the major reasons for airplane accidents?
Airplane, it actually the probable causes of the airplane to get extent. Always it happens because of the pilot error, mistake for pilot, technical error. It's a mistake for engineers, and also for manufacturers' error can cause the accident. Yeah, so if you are a pilot or engineer, you are supposed to be careful to maintain the aircraft, because it is actually British, they say that it is like a flying coffin. So it's a dangerous thing. So if you are handling that thing, you're supposed to be very careful. Yeah.
We've recently heard, like in Malawi, the recent accident that happened, we've heard the plane had lost communication. What could also be the reasons for that to happen?
Probable causes may be bad weather. Actually, according to the BBC, they say that the accident has happened because of the bad weather. So maybe it can be a major reason. But also it can be maybe a technical error. You don't know exactly what happened. Yeah.
How safe is air travel?
It is very safe because of the training. Training of the crew from engineering department, pilots, and the cabin crew also. They are very careful to handle the aircraft. So accident, always, if it happens by maybe.
On the 13th of this month, some of the East African nations, including Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda, will be reading their national budgets for the year 2024-2025. Among the important aspects of life is water. Let us go through the status of water supply in the country for the year 2022 and 2023. As you can see, in the year 2023, the average was 79.6% compared to the 77% for the year 2022. Let us have a look at the budget allocation for the Ministry of Water for last year as compared to the coming year. The Ministry of Water budget was 756.2 billion shillings in the year 2023-2024, as comparison to the 627.7 billion shillings for 2024-2025. To analyze the budget expectations on the water sector, Bokile Mwaitenda has shared his views with TBC News.
Last year we were close to $627 million shilling, and this year it has gone. Last year it was 700 million and something. This year is 627. So there's a decrease of more than 100, I think, million shilling in the supply or in the budget of the Ministry of Water in this period. But mind you, what happened last year is that the government is embarked on changing the water sector policy. Initially, we had the so-called the National Water Policy 2002, which now the last year in 2023, they have brought up a new version of National Water Policy 2023 because there are some challenges in implementing the initial policy, especially with respect to provision of services in the rural sectors, where some of the services like ownership and running of those projects were totally dependent on the indigenous people who were living in those particular areas. But also the other areas like the quality of water itself, it was not one of the priorities in the area, in the rural areas. The other challenge was also in terms of how we involve the private public-private partnership in terms of provision of the water services. If you read now the budget for this year, you will see that the government almost provided close to 86% of the budget which was planned last year to the Ministry of Water. But good enough, the minister has embarked on finding some other stakeholders who are going to channel some funds in this year's budget. For example, when reading the budget, I saw we have done very well with the World Bank Water Project, which then this year I think they have decided to increase from $360 million to $654 million US, which I think is a huge chunk of money, which will help a lot in terms of covering additional water supply in the areas which or in some regions. For example, they are saying they are going to increase the number of councils from around 137 to 187, which they are going to have included in the new project. So, and the number of people who are going to benefit also will increase from 4 million. It was 3 million, now it should be around 4.2 million who are going to benefit. But the other area which I think I'm sure the government is going to do, or the ministry is going to do, is in terms of improving the administration of the fund in the water bodies. If you read the CAG report, there are a lot of privileges and the wastage of collections. And some of the money which were not collected, were collected with the water bodies. These authorities were not delivered to the bank on time. So I've seen also in that area that the minister say that they are going to improve in that area. Together with bringing in the utilization of technology in terms of e-government, invoicing on time. They are bringing in the prepaid system of billing. All these, we hope, or it's my belief that is going to improve the collection and then curb the gap which we are showing currently that maybe it is not it is gone down compared to last year.
In other news, the Mourning Industrial Park located in Kibar Coast region has successfully entered into a memorandum of understanding with 16 investors from different countries to start the construction in the park, while 3 factories have already started construction. The Kibar District Commissioner Nixon Simon says some building materials like water pipes are already in place, while the Chief Executive of the Mourning Industrial Park, Tumaini Kabingula, says after the completion, 30,000 people will be employed.
Mourning Industrial Park kwa sababu wanawajali wateja wao, hawachoki kuinvest.
The Mourning Industrial Park is committed to investing, and this time they have invested in this short-term water project. Today we have received many pipes that will extend for a distance of 1 kilometer, supplying water from Mlandizi to the park, and as a result, it will increase the water supply in the district hospital. We handed over the pipes today to the district commissioner as a part of a short-term plan to supply water to the industrial park. DAWASA has stated that they will install a large water tank in the park to benefit the nearby residents.
The industrial park shall have at least 202 factories until its completion. Meanwhile, more than 4 countries in Africa expect to participate in the Consumer Choice Awards that aim at increasing business competition within the region. Speaking during the launch of the 6th edition of the awards held in Dar es Salaam, the co-founder of the awards, Diana Laser, says the awards have served as a catalyst for encouraging businesses both domestically and abroad to use innovation to improve their services and goods. Regarding the awards, Diana says the country has continued to attract more businesses and investment opportunities in various sectors, including tourism.
When we say Consumer Choice Awards Africa, we mean all African countries to come here for the award. So just take a picture of that. Once we get to that goal and we have all African countries coming here, this is a very good opportunity for the country. First, hotels will be full. Let's go to restaurants. Let's go to transportation. It will increase the economy of our country. But on top of that, as we said, these people, when they come, they're decision makers. It opens the gateway for investment. But again, with the internal companies, the increased competition leads to increased innovation. Once they innovate, the more they compete, the more they innovate, the more the business increases. So everything altogether, this award contributes.
The 6th edition of the Consumers' Choice Awards Africa will be held in September this year in Dar es Salaam region. And some of the citizens who are treated at the Mwabwe Pande District Hospital have thanked the government for improving the health services provided by the hospital, which includes reduction of the costs of accessing health services in remote areas. Speaking to TBC News, some citizens have explained how the health sector in the country is making progress.
I have been here for a day and experienced labor pain for a day. I have delivered safely and had excellent treatment. I had a C-section today and delivered a healthy baby and got good treatment. They received me and treated me very well until the day I was discharged. The nurses and doctors have been attending to us with so much care and attention, listening to our needs tirelessly.
On the other hand, Dr. Honorata Msaki explains how the Mwebepande Hospital provides services to the citizens while commending on the government's efforts to create a friendlier environment in the health sector.
It's about 100 to 150 patients per day who are coming to our hospital out of those pregnant mothers who are coming here. We have got surgeon specialists, others different specialists who are coming here to attend these cases. So we thank the government very much for this procedure and for these steps which have been taken so as to save the many lives of the patients who have been around us.
And before we wind up our news bulletin for tonight, exchange rates is up next, according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Don't miss TBC News every weekday. Up next is the international news. Here's the international news as compiled by Ramadhani Mpenda and read by Ahmed Salum.
At least 49 people have been killed and 140 more are missing after a boat carrying refugees and migrants from the Horn of Africa to Yemen sank. According to the United Nations International Organization for Migration, IOM, the vessel that capsized was carrying some 260 people, mostly from Ethiopia and Somalia, who had set off from the northern coast of Somalia to travel 320 kilometers across the Gulf of Aden to reach Yemen. The IOM said in a statement on Tuesday that 71 people had been rescued, 80 of whom were taken to hospital. At least 6 children, 31, were among the dead. IOM spokesperson Mohammed Ali Abu Najela has said the sinking of the boat is another reminder of the urgent need to work together to address urgent migration challenges and ensure the safety and security of migrants along migration routes. Refugees and migrants from the Horn of Africa and East Africa are increasingly braving the dangerous journey to reach Saudi Arabia and another Arab seas of the region via Yemen. In April, at least 62 people died in 2 shipwrecks off the coast of Djibouti as they tried to reach Yemen. President William Ruto of Kenya on Tuesday held talks with his predecessor, retired President Uhuru Kenyatta, over concerns regarding disbursement of funds allocated to his office. According to Kenyan State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed, following the talks, President Ruto constituted a team led by Head of Public Service in Kenya, Felix Koskei, to address the grievances raised on Monday by the former president's office. President Ruto has consequently constituted a team led by the Head of Public Service to immediately address all the issues raised, including the location of the retired president's office and the attendant staff establishment. On Monday, former President Uhuru Kenyatta accused his successor, William Ruto's government, of frustrating him by denying him benefits due to him under the Presidential Retirement Act. Through spokesperson Kanze Dena from the retired president, had listed a litany of grievances, including being choked financially through measures that include being denied official office space. The Presidential Retirement Benefits Act accords the retired president a set of benefits, including a monthly pension, entertainment allowance, a housing allowance, suitable office space, 2 new cars replaceable every 2 years, 2 4-wheel drive cars of his choice, replaceable every 3 years, a fuel allowance, water, electricity, and telephone facilities, and full medical and hospital cover, amongst others. And the International Criminal Court's chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, has appealed on Tuesday for information and evidence of killings in Sudan, saying his ongoing investigations seem to disclose an organized, systematic, and a profound attack on human dignity. ICC prosecutor has released a video statement in the aftermath of an attack Sunday by the notorious Rapid Support Forces paramilitary group that forced the closure of a main hospital in the Western Darfur region. He said the evidence his office has collected to date seems to show credible, repeated, expanding, and continuous allegations of attacks against the civilian population, in particular attacks directed against camps for internal displaced persons.
And that was the international news. Sports news is up next. And in sports, 5 winners of CAF Champions League TP Mazembe will feature in the Sekafa Kagame Cup alongside the Nyasa Big Bullets from Malawi and Zambian's champions Red Arrows to spice up the competition, which will kick off in July the 6th to July the 22nd at New Amani Stadium in Zanzibar and Benjamin Mkapa Stadium in Dar es Salaam. Both teams have confirmed to participate in the tournament to join other teams from the Sekafa zone. The tournament will help teams in Sekafa zone to prepare better in the pre-season ahead of the 2024-2025 CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup, which starts in August. Tanzanian champions Young Africans, Azam Football Club, Simba Sports Club and Coastal Union from Tanzania mainland will feature in the tournament. Meanwhile, Fountain Gate team guardian Veronica Kiondo urges sports stakeholders to provide sports facilities to football women teams to help them improve in the tournament that they will be participating in. Speaking after receiving sports gear provided by stakeholders to the Fountain Gate women's team in Dodoma, Kiondo believes that the sports gears will motivate players to do well in the competition. Fountain Gate women's team is participating in Tanzania Women's Champions League, which features 15 other teams, which 3 top teams will be promoted to play in the Tanzania Women Premier League next season. And finally, Tanzania Netball National Coordinator Stella Mwangomale says primary school netball competition Umitashumta has played very well this season due to the introduction of the new regulations of the game. Speaking in Tabora, Mwangomale revealed that new regulations of the netball games have made players and match leaders to add more concentration in the game and lifted up the performance of the teams.
This year, all teams participating in this tournament are very good. All regions have prepared their squads very well. It seems that coaches have done a fantastic job in training their teams. More importantly, players participating in this competition have required age, and this is good for future netball national teams.
Walikuwa wana train kwa kutumia sheria mpya. Kwa hiyo wamekuja hapa, kazi imekuwa ni rahisi.
The quarterfinals of primary school netball competition Umitashumta is to be played tomorrow in Tabora. And before we wind up our news briefing for tonight, let us now take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Hello and welcome again to the next 24 hours of forecast starting tonight at 9 p.m. From Tanzania Meteorological Authority, my name is Ramadan Omar. Let's start with the windy flow pattern for tomorrow. Windy is expected to flow at 40 kilometers per hour over the entire coast, and the state of the sea is expected to be rough. Over Lake Victoria, Tanganyika, and Lake Nyasa, wind speed is expected to reach 30 kilometers per hour. And TMY has issued an advisory of strong wind reaching 40 kilometers per hour and large waves reaching 2 meters over the entire coast. So necessary precaution should be taken over those areas. And tonight, dry condition with cool temperature expected to persist over most part of our country. And the lowest minimum temperature is expected to be 80 degrees Celsius in Njombe region. And tomorrow, most part of our country are expected to feature partly cloudy condition and longer sunny periods. In terms of maximum temperature, we're expecting the highest maximum temperature to be 32 degrees Celsius in Dar es Salaam region. And now, let's have a look on the next further forecast over some regions of our country. And that is all for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
And that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. I am Kanki Mwegomole. Good night.